On Monday, we suggested Kingsley Coman's move to El Nasser might pave the way for Nick Woltemade to join Bayern. Well, Stuttgart have shut it down, with CEO Alexander Werle saying, "We're not negotiating. Nick will play with us next year." Case closed for Voldemort? Will this be an Isak rerun, Jules?
I think this is another saga for the Germans, Gab. We will have Isak here in England. They will have Voltemade and Bayern over there. Voltemade's agent came out and said, this is ridiculous. We had kind of agreed that if there was a good offer on the table, they would let him go. The offer from Bayern was 60 million euros, which is a lot of money for somebody who was not even registered to play in the Champions League, because it was not really part of, or the expectations were not that high for him back at the start of last season. So I think they want 75 or 80 million euros, which would be a lot of money. And I'm not sure if Bayern are ready to pay that. But it looks like we're going to have a bit of a power battle between the two clubs and the Voltemade kind of camp against Stuttgart in that case. And Bayern might well win this one.
Yeah, I don't know. If I were Bayern, I would stick to this. Voltemade's skill set is so unusual. I think he's actually not that easy to integrate into a team. He can be a real value add, but I genuinely don't think, from Stuttgart's perspective, that if you think, well, if he stays here another year, he's going to suddenly be worth 100 million. I think that's highly, highly unlikely. From his perspective, though, I'm not sure Bayern is now at this stage of his career is necessarily the right place for him either. But I agree with you. I think in the end, this deal does go through. But I will say this, a memo to his agent, gentleman's agreement, blah, blah, blah. It's all nonsense. Get it written down with real lawyers and a real contract.
The Premier League will feature ref CAMS, like we saw in the Club World Cup, Gabby, this season. I'll start on Friday with the Liverpool Bournemouth game. Are you excited? Are you happy with that?
I am very excited. I love the ref CAMS. I think you are too, right, Jules? The referees love them too.
I think it's very good. Exactly.
We can see it from their perspective, and they're not intrusive. Yes, roll on the ref cam.
Exactly. There's no green light for Rasmus Højlund just yet, Gabby, but according to Fabrizio Romano, Milan have agreed terms for a loan move. What do you make of it?
Yeah. So I think at some point, if you're Milan, you just take a step back and sit tight and say, hey, dude, Rasmus, you don't want to come? Don't come. I don't like this. I don't like a €6 million loan fee. €6 million loan fee plus a 45 million buy option, and you have to pay his wages. That means it's probably going to cost you like 10 million a year, or 10 million for the season. For what? Is Rasmus Højlund better than Santi Jimenez? Has he done anything to suggest that? This is it's a reclamation project, and frankly, if this guy doesn't want to be there, you don't need him. You have other players. There's other strikers you can get, and I really kind of wish. I don't know if he's like an Allegri obsession or Iglitaro or whatever, but I would give this guy a deadline and move on. And you know what? And if he comes crawling back on the last day of the transfer window because he realizes his butt cheeks are stuck on the bench behind Sesko and whatnot, then at that point you negotiate him down. Let's talk keepers again. Barcelona have managed to register Joan Garcia after Marc-Andre ter Stegen agreed that his was a long-term injury. Of course, they're still waiting now on Marcus Rashford and whether they can register him. This happens every year.
Every year, same thing. Every 6 months even, you could say, because we see that in January as well. I guess the priority, and Rooney Bargi, who's another new signing, the young winger, not registered either yet, despite not making much money at all. But I guess the priority was always going to be the keeper first. I get that because there's no ter Stegen. Okay, there's Chesney, but so it had to be Garcia first, and then probably Rashford, and Garcia makes probably less money than Rashford. But if you're Marcus Rashford and La Liga starts in 3 days, you're not sleeping well at night because you will miss that game at the weekend, and you might miss the one after. And Barcelona, we need to find a way of registering them, and I'm not sure where that would come from. But it's the same issue every year, and every time they're saying, don't worry, it's all good. And they must tell that to the players when they sign them. Yeah, don't worry about registration. We will be okay. And yet it comes mid-August, end of August, and they're still not registered.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Inigo Martinez is gone, which means Paco Cubarsi has to pay with Huey, Dewey, or Louis, i.e. Eric Garcia, Christensen, or Who's the third
Araujo.
guy? I keep forgetting because I banned it.
Araujo.
Araujo. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't get it. There's a suggestion that some club executives are putting their own personal money as our bank guarantees to help smooth things along, but it's not going to move the needle. I think they have to shift somebody for a transfer fee at this stage.
Back to the Super Cup, Gabby. There's talk of expanding it to 4 teams and moving it to Asia or North America. Is this a good idea or just another money grab?
Ooh, could it be both? If you want to make it bigger, I suppose it's a good idea. I mean, they played the game in Udine last night, which is not it's a nice stadium, but it's not a big stadium. It's far away in the northeast of Italy. And if they play it there rather than in some 60,000 seater, there's got to be a reason, right? And you assume that's because the time of year in August in Europe, everybody's away just before the start of the season. And obviously, if you expanded it to 4 teams, maybe chuck the Conference League winners in there, maybe chuck the Champions League runners-up, whatever it is, and you go and you sell it, sponsors elsewhere. But yeah, it would feel like a big money grab. But, hey, that's kind of the world of football that we live in. And by the way, talk about congesting calendar, because then we're talking about travel and all this other stuff. There'd be more moaning, I think, from the players, and rightly so. Jadon Sancho's Instagram received more than 5 million messages from Besiktas fans urging him to choose their club. I guess they really, really want him. Either that or they have some really good bots.
Maybe a bit of both. I mean, I haven't read all 5 million messages, Gabby. I won't lie to you. But the few I read seems to be legit, from legit Besiktas fans. And we know how passionate Turkish fans are with their clubs. And this is not the first time that they do something like this. Once the rumors started that Besiktas were looking at Jadon Sancho as an option, they got really excited. And I can understand that. I don't know if it's enough to convince him to go to Turkey. I think he wants to stay in the big 5 leagues. But for now, there's not many suitors. So he would have to make a decision very soon, and United will hope that he make that decision soon and that he finds another club, because he's clearly not welcome back there. So it'd be very interesting to see what he does.
And either way, he's going to have to take less money.
Yeah, true. Barcelona and Villarreal have the green lights from the Spanish FA to move their game schedule just before Christmas to Miami. It will be the first La Liga game to be played overseas. Gab, the legal impediments are out of the way.
Yeah, they still need to get approval. They're going to have to get approval from UEFA. I think they have to get approval from La Liga, which is only they have. They get approval from CONCACAF. But yeah, this looks like it will happen.
Renato Vega is getting linked to Borussia Dortmund, Gabby, but the sticking point seems to be that Chelsea want a permanent transfer, not a loan. Are they going to get their wish?
I mean, if you're Borussia Dortmund, you have all the leverage here, assuming you really want the guy. And like Renato Vega, I know he's become like a figure of fun to some people, well, me, because of that comment where he wanted to play center back, and Enzo Maresca said, "Well, I'd like to have long hair, but it's just not possible." Then of course he goes to Juve, plays center back. He did okay.
He did okay, yeah.
But Jules, he is what he is. He's a work in progress. You look at him and you say he's comfortable on the ball. He's got decent size. He's a good athlete. I can turn him into something, whether it's a midfielder or a left back or center back. The question is, do Borussia Dortmund need another project? And I think Chelsea understand this. If Dortmund really do want him, take him on loan. There's no reason to go and, if you're Chelsea, you get some of the amortization off the books, or, just cover it with your loan fees. Loan fee wasn't, the price they paid for him wasn't high, and maybe he'll become good. I don't know. I just know that there's no room for him at Chelsea. After Jonathan David and Lucas Chevalier, Bafode Diakite is on his way out of Lille for $35 million. He's joining Bournemouth, where he'll have some pretty big shoes to fill.
Yeah, that's right. Replacing Højlund and Zabani is a great player. He was one of Liga's best centre-backs, not just last season, but the season before too. He had a great run in the Champions League, like Lille last season, where he had really good performances against top teams like Real Madrid or Juventus or Atletico Madrid. So it's a good signing. I think really good signing for Bournemouth. The money is okay. I think it's a big sell for a French club, but it's not too much spent either for an English club. And I really believe he's going to do well. They liked Nathan Zeze, who playing for Nantes, who chose Saudi Arabia instead of Bournemouth, which I've struggled a little bit to understand. But for Diakite, he really liked this project. I think, and no offense to Bournemouth here, but He sees it as a stepping stone, a bit like what Højlund and Zabani did for then a bigger club even. But he's made for the Premier League. He's got the physicality, he's aggressive, he's decent on the ball, he's got pace. He would be a really good addition to their squad for sure.
I have to say that's got to be the ultimate selling point, right? The guys who had this job before you, one of them is now at Real Madrid and the other one is at Paris Saint-Germain.
News broke on Monday, Gabby, and we mentioned it a little bit, that Palace's appeal against exclusion from the Europa League had been rejected by CAS. The club issued a pretty strong statement after that.
Yeah, they said, and I quote, multi-club structures hide behind the charade of a blind trust, while clubs such as ours, who have no connection to another club whatsoever, are prevented from playing in the same competition. I read the statement because they're absolutely right. Now, they're not, if you want, entirely innocent, because you knew that when you sold a chunk of your club to John Textor, he was in that situation, and you know that David Blitzer, another one of your owners, also is a multi-club ownership guy. But the reality is that this blind trust thing where people like our buddy, Mr. Marinakis, gets his friend, Joe Lawyer, to go and say, oh, look, club is yours now for a year. I don't know anything about it. No, don't tell me anything about it. This is all nonsense. And by the way, it was like nonsense with Nice and Manchester United as well. We need new rules. We need new rules now. And I think the only fair rule to me is you're a multi-club ownership. I go further. I'd say anybody who's got more than 5% of a club, if that club qualifies for the same competition as another club, you have to choose. We put you on the spot. You decide who plays in that competition, and the other one doesn't. I mean, honestly, grow some, and whether it's Red Bull with the Salzburg, Leipzig nonsense, whether it's a City Football Group, whatever you want, but enough. We need proper rules. And I know Chefrin came out and he says, well, football's changed, multi-club ownerships, they bring money into football. Yeah, they bring money into football, which then goes right back out in player wages and whatever. Football doesn't need this. You don't always necessarily need to have more, quote-unquote, investment in football, which then dries up as people go under. So, yeah, I feel for Palace, and they're right. And hopefully this will be the spur for UEFA to get some real rules on this. Ligue 1's experiment, closely watched by other leagues with producing and selling games directly to fans, kicks off this weekend. But there's trouble again on the TV front, Jules, as beIN are withholding payments for beIN. They have one game a week, and they're not happy with their pick of the games.
Yeah, they haven't paid in full. They've paid some of it. I think there's 20 million that they still need to pay that hasn't been paid yet. But that's something that the league really didn't need as they're launching their own channel, as you mentioned, to show all the games called Ligue 1 Plus. They seem happy with the numbers so far of subscriptions. They've very much put the word out there that if you support your club, then you support the league and you go and subscribe instead of watching it on some stream somewhere, which I think is fair. It doesn't cost much. It's 10 euros a month. You've got different packages, but the lowest one is 10 euros a month, which I think is really decent. You'll have good people working on it, good programs on it, all the Ligue 1 games, apart from the one on Saturday that is on beIN Sports. So I really hope it works, and it won't work like what Sky or TNT are giving in the UK to the Premier League, for example. Of course, it's not. But it was that, or they had nothing else. So let's just hope it's a successful one.
I mean, isn't part of the issue here, though, that they wanted the first or second, they would have the first pick or second pick in alternating weeks. And so they figured, oh, look, we'll have Paris Saint-Germain or Marseille every week. But then they put a cap on it. And what I don't understand here is I'm pretty sure that the guy who owns or the guy who runs the biggest team in Ligue 1 is also the guy who runs beIN Sport.
Yeah.
Shouldn't these things be agreed clearly beforehand? So it always feels like they agree something and then something comes on. Oh, look, we're going to do something different. And then one side gets upset. This is what I just really do not follow here. And in the past, we've blamed a lot of this chaos on John Textor. We can't blame this on him again, right?
No, and you're right. This is a problem now because the big game in France is Sunday night. This is it. This is the time slot for that. PSG or Marseille or Monaco play a lot at that time, or Lyon in the past. Not the slot that beIN Sport have right now, which is late afternoon on a Saturday. But for them, if they could show PSG every week or Marseille every week or Monaco every week, they would. So it's difficult. I understand both positions, but for the Ligue 1 channel, this doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. Because if all the PSG games are on beIN Sport, people are not going to subscribe to the Ligue 1 Plus channel. They're going to wait and stay with their beIN Sport subscription. Makes a lot of sense. So I think this will be resolved, but it's just, again, another ugly battle in this already very long battle over TV rights.
Axel Witsel has a new home. He's joining Girona on a free transfer. Jules, how much does he have left?
It's a good question, Gabby. He's 36, didn't play much for Atletico Madrid last season, and often as the sweeper in a back three where he didn't have much running to do or anything. I suspect he will play again as a centre-back for Girona, but he wanted a bit more of his career, and Girona, a lovely club. Okay, they won't have the same season that they had 2 years ago, of course. It's be more of a struggle again. I think this season coming up, similar to last season. But he's a great player to have in your squad. He's got experience. He looks after himself, so he should be still putting decent performances in, I think. So, yeah, it's good, I think. It's good when you're a player, even at that kind of age, but you feel you still have a bit more to give, and I just hope it's not a disaster, and I don't think it will be. According to Polish media, super agent Pini Zahavi said that Robert Lewandowski turned down a 100 million euro a season offer from a Saudi Arabia club because he wanted to fight for La Liga and the Champions League this season. Gab, are you buying it?
No. I don't buy. I'm not buying because I don't want to buy. Now, did he have offers, and did he say, no, I'd rather stay at Barcelona and the big stage while I can? Yes. I just don't believe it's 100 million. 100 million euros a season is just an absurd amount of money. The only way you can even begin to possibly potentially justify it is with if he brings weirdo commercial deals because he's a global superstar and with a massive following. In other words, if his name is Messi or Cristiano, and he's not. His name is Robert Lewandowski. Phenomenal footballer, but let's face it, in terms of charisma and presence, not a patch on the other two guys. So, no, I think Pini Zahavi was mentioning, if he did say this, I think he was maybe saying it metaphorically or over multiple years. Otherwise, I'd love to meet the guy in Saudi who offered him 100 million euros a year. I'd love to go and do business with that guy.